Hey Tyler, how are you?
Hey, doing all right. It's been crazy busy over here at the open source. How about you, Mac?
Yeah, pretty busy. So for folks who this is the first time you joining us, this is dSIPRouter Weekly. This is where we talk about all of the things that's happening in the dSIPRouter land. We took a little bit of a break. Summer's over in this part of the world, so we're in. I guess we're in different places, but in Michigan, where I'm from, summer is only 3 months, and Tyler's from here originally as well. He moved away, but we only have 3 months of summer, so we like to get it in. So we're back, right back at it. How about you, Tyler?
Yeah, we have a little bit longer summer over here in Colorado, but it's the winters are just as bitter. So that didn't change much.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that's crazy is that you moved from. I guess you get more. I guess it's more moderate. I guess weather in Colorado. Is that what it is? Basically,
A
it's
little
like
bit, a lot drier too. So it's more arid.
yeah. So now we're back at it. We have some pretty interesting things happening on the DSIP router side. We've over the summer we've been really focused on trying to get more people buying subscriptions to DSIP router so they can see value out of the subscription because we were able to help them provide more assistance, things of that nature. Now we're in this. We did a release also, which was awesome. The 7.8 release was great. We really focused on some just tuning up the product, adding some things around WebRTC, tightening up a few things around the Microsoft Teams side. There were some routing things that was resolved. So it's the product is shaping up and looking better as we go every release. I am seeing a lot of stir shaking activity, and I think that's
Hmm.
par for the course. Simply because we all know the FCC wants to have VoIP interconnected um, organizations. So those are what they call people who are not like a CLEC or a traditional carrier. They want those folks signing calls to fight the world of spam that we're in from a telephony standpoint. So we are seeing that some of the major SIP carriers, such as the bandwidths of the world, VoIP Innovations, um, Lumen. We're seeing those folks flow route starting to put the warning signs up that hey, you need to start signing your calls. In some cases, some customers we're seeing they've already kind of like cut them off in regards to like signing their calls, so they have to go figure this out ASAP. So we are seeing a lot of that um, right now. I think dSIPRouter makes it super easy for people to do that, especially if you have a bunch of PBX systems and you want to be able to quickly implement stir shaking because maybe your carrier has cut you off or they're giving you a warning that that they're going to cut you off. But I think and this is my last thing here, Tyler, we can talk more in depth about it. It's like the thing that's going to take you the most time is to go and get all of your paperwork in place so you can get what's needed in order to start signing your calls because it's not it is not that complicated, but it is confusing. And if you don't, obviously, you're
Hmm.
trying to run a company at, our customers are trying to run companies at the same time. So it is a little, it's a lot to kind of have to fill out and do, but we try and do our part and make it simpler.
Yeah, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Just a little bit of background on like the progression. The big change that is kind of coming up is the top level carriers, or the carriers that actually have parts of the networks. They're starting to say, "Hey, we won't accept your your KYC anymore, and they're saying you as the intermediary need to sign and have KYC with your own customers. So that's the big change that's kind of been happening recently. So there's a bigger push for stir shake, and yeah, dSIPRouter definitely kind of just makes it a little bit easier once you get your robocall mitigation done. And if you want to sign your own calls, dSIPRouter makes that a little bit easier too. You don't have to go through all that implementation. You can just pop in your cert.
Yeah, that's cool. And just for those who are not following this, KYC says know you. It basically stands for know your customer. Just if you don't know what that means, but yeah, I mean Tyler brings up a good point, because if you didn't have processes in place or a place in your portal to like vet your customer in order to know, you need to collect certain information to know who you're routing traffic for. I think a lot of our customers, they've been pretty scrappy, right? So they've been like, hey, you need, you need dial tone. We'll give you dial tone. So I don't think a lot of them has the processes in place in order to capture KYC and to manage KYC. Because it's one thing to like collect it one time, but then you have to manage it, update it, make sure that if something does happen in regards to like there's a set of spam calls that are initiated from some of your devices, you need to be able to quickly and accurately be able to specify who the parties was that actually initiated the spam. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really the test, right? is just making sure you have all the processes in place in order to handle it. Because I don't know what the fine structure is there for a fine of not having that information, but I'm assuming it's a costly expense and potentially getting your traffic blocked from your upstream carrier, which will then obviously have negative effects on your company because your all your other customers won't be able to make outbound calls.
Yeah, I mean I read it in their determination in their last paper from the FCC, but I think it was a real big fine. We've seen hundreds of $1,000 fines for big carriers for big incidents. So it can really be a detriment, and a lot of companies won't think about that until they get a traceback request, and then they go, "Oh shoot, what do I do now?" So
Yeah.
that's the things that we're trying to solve and make easier for you guys. Homer integration, so you can have your tracebacks, having the CDRs available so that you can link that to a customer. But the more I was just thinking about this while we were talking, Mac, the more we talk about, hey, KYC is really important. I think that would be a really cool thing to add as like a feature to this product. So you can have that onboarding process like built right in.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we wanted to do is provide an API to allow people to, to add all the things that's necessary for a customer, outbound route, DIDs, things of that nature. But I too have been thinking through like, well, one, should we have a kind of a sample portal that we have that people can use for being able to get new customers. So do all the things to collecting information about that customer, and
Mm-hmm.
then automatically set them up inside of dSIP, and for they can make outbound calls. So yeah, that is something. I was thinking about it on the Melt side. For those who don't know, we have an API called Melt that is kind of is a standardized API for being able to revision PBXs. I was thinking, well, maybe there's where you should have the ability to add users, and users can automatically create an account number, and then it will automatically when you set up a new PBX user, maybe we have it somehow I don't know. I don't know if where's the right place to put it is what I'm getting at. should you put it up at the, I guess it depends on what type of customer we're talking about. If we're talking about a trunking customer, which is a lot of the customers the larger customers we deal with are people who are providing SIP trunking, it probably makes sense to have KYC at the dSIPRouter level. If you're talking about somebody who is more of a PBX, hosting PBX, and I'm assuming their main thing is like adding new users to the PBX. uh,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it needs to go there. I don't know. I mean, that's a good point. But definitely for the carriers, I see your point. For the people who are doing SIP trunking, I think KYC would probably be an interesting feature to add.
Yeah, I think the goal of the project was to make using Camilio and standing up SIP SIP proxies really simple and easy. I think that even if you're a company that has this other process, yeah, you're probably not going to need that feature. But you're a small provider, you want to stand up something quick, you want to stand up a
Mm-hmm.
new startup quick. I think that really makes sense, and it kind of fits with the vision that we started with.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to like put that on and actually think about like doing that, because I think that's an interesting use case. I think also the other thing that is interesting to me is that besides Stir Shaken, is that we are starting to get a lot of people asking us around, um, WebRTC request. So we did add that to, we always had WebRTC support, but it wasn't the best. But now we've made it rock solid. But I think now that people are starting to use it, I think this goes into what we've been talking about for a while, is really that, which is one of the things in the next release, is really having a admin UI that allows people to enable WebRTC from a UI perspective, and it automatically handles all the stuff that's needed in order to configure it and properly have it working inside of dSIP, versus having to go and you know uh, you know change or update these certificates in order for it to work properly. Um, so I think I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be something that, because I that was one of the big things too, is like really being able to leverage dSIPRouter as a WebRTC gateway. I want to see more of that use case happening.
Yeah, I want to see some more use cases where we get to test around and get to see which other like back-to-back agents or gateways they're interfacing dSIPRouter with. And then I think we'll kind of get a better picture on that. I know we've been talking about Jitsi. We've been talking about there was another client that you brought up last week
Oh,
when we were talking about testing.
yeah. So it's the it was
Got it in my
Jam.
bookmarks somewhere here.
Yeah, it was Jam.
Jambone.
Uh, I got it right here. Jambones. Yep, Jambones. Yep. I think that's how you say it, Jambones. So I like that one because it's a plug into your browser, and it seems to work very well. And it seems to be very compliant to the spec. So definitely interested in like doing more with WebRTC and figuring out where's the sweet spots. Now, the other place that I'm seeing a lot of energy in right now is that, and me and you haven't talked about this yet, but is
Okay.
that I'm seeing a lot of stuff with OpenAI right now, and they have like basically now have SIP integration, so you can start creating models and then excuse me, and then start sending traffic to OpenAI, and it can respond as an AI agent. So one of the things I was
Hmm.
thinking is that we probably need to make it easier for people to do that. Um, I just think that it's not a heavy lift per se, but we just got to figure out the use cases. So anybody out there thinking about using OpenAI, let us know.
Yeah, that sounds similar to what some of the other carriers are doing, like SignalWire and Twilio, like the programmable voice and just adding like AI kind of to that workflow.
Well,
We've
so yeah,
yeah,
somebody
go on.
like yeah. So like Twilio has an OpenAI. It looks like they have a connector, but you also can just manually enter it in as well, um, on the Twilio side. But it acts very much like Twilio. Like, so when you send a request to the OpenAI endpoint, it has a callback, and one of the callbacks is basically, I think it's called like accept call, and then
Hmm.
this is where you actually tell the agent what it is, what kind of role they're playing, what the guardrails is, all that type of stuff, and then it starts interacting with the user. So I almost feel like a lot of the people that we deal with, they are pure VoIP people, not necessarily software developers. So being able to make it easy for them to incorporate an open AI agent into their infrastructure would probably be some value to them. So so just handling all that stuff so that it just works easily is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think being able to spin up agents or different media services really quickly is, kind of like a big feature. dSIPRouter makes that like with your PBX is really easy. So makes sense that we might spend a little bit more time on that. I don't know
Yeah, I
how
mean,
much I
mhm.
I would like to see from like our community how much they are interested in the live agents, because I haven't seen a lot of like our community asking, hey, where's live agent integration? Where is it? Where is it? Like how do I hook it up to Sprout? I haven't really heard that from our customers yet.
Agreed. Yeah, I've only heard it from one. So I don't see a lot. I think a lot of the times that they're doing it at the PBX level, not necessarily at the proxy level. Or
Okay.
they just don't know how to get started. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things where we just have to put something out and then kind of figure out where people are at. I mean, that's the problem. We have a lot of different features.
Hmm.
so so
It
it's
is a really broad scope. Yeah, so
yeah,
it makes it hard to narrow down which ones to
to
look at.
focus
And
on.
that's actually for all the folks at home. That's what we've been doing over the past month. When we took our break, it's usually when we're resetting after a release, and we'll go through like a PRD and then figure out which features we're going to focus on for the next release before we get into our dev cycle.
Yeah, I think one other thing I want to give a shout out to TransNexus. So we had a customer that was looking for stir shaken, and they started looking at TransNexus, and so we got a connection with the folks over at TransNexus, and trying to work through how we can better work together. So I'm excited for those talks to happen. So that I'm pretty sure they're seeing the boom like we're seeing in stir shaking, probably even more.
Hmm.
So it'll be it's going to be a good conversation to figure out how we can help. And also I think you know the I think there's a lot of stuff that can happen to make this thing smoother, and like all these certificate authorities. I would love to be able to have like a go-to that we just recommend people to go to. I mean, I have a couple in my brain that I like, but um, I don't know. I think it's overwhelming for sometimes people to pick. Like they have to go the iConnective, get their token, then be like, all right, now I got what I need. And be like, no, 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 you still got to pick a certificate authority, and they have to go through and figure out what certificate authority to pick. So I don't know. I'm just thinking through how
Mhm.
can we make that process simpler by providing recommendations or doing something to make it easier.
Yeah, I think in the interim, that's a good idea. We're actually in the background with our other company, kind of working through these same steps. But the the becoming a CA is a much longer process. That's much harder. So we'll keep on working
Yeah.
on that. I think you were in talks with Sansei. They had
Yep.
some things that they wanted to talk about with integrating with dSIPRouter.
Yeah, yeah. Sensei was good because they have an API integration, so we could do that. So I think there's a few different ways that we can integrate and make this whole process better for folks. I don't know, man. It's like it's such a large set of customers and users we have. Just figuring out which things make the most sense. Where should we be spending our time? Um, is the big thing, and obviously the other thing that so like I guess here let's just talk through. We got a couple minutes here. We're actually over our time, but that's fine. Let's like I think we really want people to like look at this video and just shoot us a note, man. Just shoot us either send us something that info at dSIProuter.org or just jump on the dSIProuter website and give us let us know what you're thinking about. But I mean, we have all the or just comment on this video. This is which is fine too.
We also have our Slack
Um,
channel, our community Slack, which is going to be in the show notes. Every video, you can find that there.
so so I wanted to talk through some of the stuff that we have like on the list today. So we already talked about we're focused on really getting a lot of these things, and we have a lot of different features that folks probably don't even know about, and we just need to put it in the admin UI so that you see it. And here, I'll just share this. This is just easier to do it this way.
Sure, I got it up too if you want me to share.
Um, I just gotta learn how to share again. Oh, share screen. How about that? So, all right. so so in this here, these are some of the ones that we're talking about. Admin interface, just it makes sense. I think the other thing that we're thinking about is, do we take the DIDs that's coming from Fusion PBX or coming from Free PBX and automatically pull those into dSIPRouter? And because right now what happens is that if you have Fusion PBXs and a Free PBX, if you have multiple servers, more than one, you need to tell dSIPRouter where to route these calls to. So you have to end up going in, grabbing your DIDs, put them in the dSIPRouter, and then setting up to route to whatever PBX you want. But
That's if
with
you're
Fusion,
coming from a carrier. So we have the domain syncing, but that's
yeah,
only for your registrar and for your endpoints.
yes, good call out. Yeah, this is more for inbound calls coming in to dSIP and route, knowing where to go. So I thought that would be interesting. Um, Handle active Fusion PBX servers. So the in situations where we have a active standby configuration, it's not that big of a deal for Fusion because it's basically like only one is active at a time. And so we know where to route the calls to because usually you have like some type of cluster config with a VIP that a virtual IP that's tied to the active server. So it doesn't really matter to dSIP. But in cases where you want to have multiple, PBX servers running that has the same set of domains on it, you need to have a little bit more awareness in regards to, like, where users are routing to, and then from a registration standpoint, and then you have to make sure that when inbound calls come in, you send them to the server that has those users on it. So that's a tricky one. Multi-user support. Again, this is one where I think we want to hear from you. I think we are seeing it like, oh, we need to have a you know a multiple IDs where users can have different privileges, but we don't hear it. I don't hear it all the time. I hear it now and then, but really looking for some feedback on that.
Yeah, we see it more with like the bigger carriers.
Yeah,
Like when people are first starting with dSIPRouter, we don't hear anything about it.
right. And yeah, so that'd be great to kind of get that kind of figured out. Carrier group registration status. This will allow the user to see if the carrier group is registered. So this is like if if you have a carrier that wants you to register, um, this is one where you want to see the status, uh, and figure out, like, did it actually register or not. Um, the other one is SIP testing. So I think this is dear to your heart, Tyler, right? This is like
Yeah,
for us to.
I've been in the weeds this last month working on a bunch of unit and end-to-end tests in SIP. But yeah, we need to. That's something that we've been talking about internally for a little while now. It's just a lot of framework and a lot of building to do, but we kind of have to get all that built in. As this progresses further and further, we want to make sure these older features are still working instead of going through a spreadsheet that's like 5 pages long, which is what we're doing right now. Which is okay,
Right.
to start, but
Yeah, we gotta
gotta,
get it more automated.
yep.
Uh, the other one is that we know people want to scale dSIPRouter, and in particular they want to scale the RTP engine, especially if they have use cases where they need to transcode or something of that nature. So being able to scale out RTP engine um, off of dSIPRouter is very important to some customers. So what we're going to do is we're building a dSIPRouter RTP engine image, which will live on AWS. If we need to make it so it lives other places, let us know. But this will allow people to be able to spin up these instances and then offload RTP engine to other servers. Adaptive firewall. So there's a lot of different stuff that needs to happen to manage the security on this box. So we've been thinking about, like, right now we just have Pike, which is a module that comes with and Firewall D, obviously, that comes with um, Pike comes with Camilio. Firewall D is part of the operating system, or it comes packaged with the operating system. But there's other things that we can add to make it more secure and minimize the amount of CPUs that your system is spinning, just dealing with bad actors. API band integration, which I kind of alluded to up there, and then user agent whitelisting, blacklisting, important. We do get people asking us about mid-register for Fusion PBX. This comes it's a little complicated, but I think it's something that people want, really, for people who want to offload their registrations from their Fusion box. I don't know what this mid-register for internal user is. What is? Do you know what that is? I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't remember what that was for. Maybe it's alluding to full registrar, which I added in there.
Okay. And then we have ad support for blacklisting based on caller ID name. We have a customer that they're being spoofed with caller ID name being some weird character, so we want to be able to block on that. And then another one that we have got requests for this. There is probably we have a new issue in here, but I think there's already an existing issue too. Outbound routes API. So people want to be able to, you know, basically configure DIDs. Um, no, this is not configure DIDs. This is for configuring the routes for going outbound from dSIPRouter. So we probably need to. This is something that's marked. This is probably something that's definitely going to be added because a lot of people have been asking over the years. So I think that'll be cool. So
Yep. Bring that feature parity over to the API.
yep, yeah. Yep, and then the full registrar support managing location table in the UI. Oh, okay, got you. So us acting as a like right now, you can go, you can add a user in endpoint groups, but you can't see the overall table in the UI. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, so we actually have that in the domains feature. You can set your domain to use the local location and subscriber tables, but you have to like manage them yourself. So nobody's really using that. If we kind of made it usable in the UI, it would be people would use that right away. You can basically offload all your registration to dSIP at that point.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
With dSIP being in the middle, there's really cool things you can do there too. You can like conditionally forward them to your PBX or conditionally take it over to, a voicemail server or any other feature X server, or your AI agent. So I think that it might get a little bit more important and usable and enable more features as we start talking about these like cool integrations like that.
yeah, for sure. I think that's a interesting one as well. But so the way we're looking at these now is that we're taking these features, we're looking at how much engineering design needs to happen, what the impact is to our customer, and then what's the revenue impact. So we are looking at all of those to figure out which ones to add to the product, which is a little different what we were doing before. We just was like this, guessing what would be there. But
I do want to
the
note on that
mhm,
one,
yeah.
we actually tried to do this same. We tried to bring these out in like our GitHub project and then ask the community, and we just weren't getting any feedback. And so that it seems like bringing it back to just internal and then bringing it up here, maybe asking our customers is just going to work out better until we have enough people that are interested in committing back to the project.
Yep. So that's the problem with open source projects. So everybody listening out there, if you want something to be added to the project, you don't necessarily need to come to me and in the team or Tyler and the team. You can add stuff and do pull requests. We are open for business for accepting pull requests. So you don't have to wait. So feel free to do that, but that's the only way we kind of know. Even if you do a pull request and the feature isn't pretty, we may not accept it, but we will help you get it over the finish line. So it's just a matter of just getting more feedback is important. So that's it, man. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. What else is there, Tyler? What else? What are you excited about for next week and anything that's coming up?
Yeah, I'm really excited to start to pull some of these SIP tests in and getting this end-to-end integration, end-to-end testing integrated into the project. It's going to be really interesting. What about you, Mac?
Yeah, I don't know. So I think right now is getting some of these features, getting some of these things like, I guess, let me just sum it up. I think getting the admin UI looking decent and starting to get that to start coming together for the next release. I think that's what I'm excited about. So as we do that, I'll start showing what it'll look like here and get feedback from people. But that's one of the things that I'm super excited about in the next couple of weeks. So good.
Yeah.
All right. That was it, man. So no, we spent a lot of time, 34 minutes. But we haven't seen you guys in a long time. We haven't talked to people in a long time. So 34 minutes wasn't a bad thing to do. We try and keep it to 15 minutes typically just because we know people are busy. But I think, for the fact that we haven't talked to folks, this was good. All right, folks. Have a
Yep,
great
good to be
one.
back.
And we will talk soon. Take
See
care.
you guys next week.